What's up everybody, and very welcome along to tonight's stream. And look, little special treat for you guys. Yes, we've got to pay the bills, you know that, we got to pay the bills, I never hide that. But I thought to myself, look, it's the end of the month, Craig, why not treat the good folk at Anfield agenda to the Manscaped video once more? So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoy it. Bear with me for one moment. Here it is in all of its glory. This Anfield Agenda show has been brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. When you're a follically challenged man like myself on the top of the head, you want to make sure that you take care of yourself below. If you haven't tried their Lawnmower 3.0 electric trimmer, you've been missing out. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to keep your nuts as smooth as my head. The battery alone lasts up to 90 minutes, unlike most of us. The kit also includes crop preserver, otherwise known as their ball deodorant. Yes folks, I did say ball deodorant. It also comes with crop reviver, Manscaped's own ball toner. Sick of saggy balls? Use their ball toner and those days will be gone. They even added their shed travel bag and anti-chafing boxer briefs to complement not only their Perfect Package 3.0, but your perfect package as well. Let's get that bush to tush clean so you can be prepared at all times. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WFM20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use our code WFM20. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, get yourselves over to Manscaped. Use the code WFM20 to get yourself 20% off absolutely anything at manscaped.com. And look, thank you for bearing with me. I don't like doing the ad stuff, but I have to say, that's one of the proudest pieces of work that I've been involved in. So look, there you go. If you want to treat your father, your brother, anybody in your family, get over to manscaped.com. If you use our code WFM20, gets you 20% off. And you know what? It doesn't even matter if the item's on sale. It still works for you, ladies and gentlemen. So look, there we go. How are we all? Lovely to see you in the chat. Loads for us to get through. Look, it's not a great day being a Liverpool fan today. If you look around at what's going on, you see Manchester United getting Jadon Sancho. We're going to have to put up with that on Twitter, unfortunately, for a while. We see Nuno Espirito Santo becoming the new Spurs boss. We see Rafael Benitez signing on to become the Everton manager. And we're sitting here wondering to ourselves, when do we get a little bit of something special? When do we get something to celebrate? And yes, I know we've got Ibrahim Konate, and that's a brilliant piece of business. Makes me very happy. But I want to know where we are with regards to other transfers. And look, we'll start off with Otavio in a moment or two, because we know that the deadline for his release clause before it goes up kicks in at midnight tonight. So, you know, I'll talk about that situation and lots of other stuff as well. Yeah, it's a weird one at the minute. And look, we spoke about this numerous times, but you know where my big fear is now. It's around the Mohamed Salah situation. Every day that goes by that I don't hear a James Pearce, a Melissa Reddy, a Paul Joyce, or somebody letting us know that we've started negotiations with Mo over a new deal, I start to ask questions and I start to wonder what is going on behind the scenes. Right, what else we got? Nuno was offered a scratch card on top as well. Well, look, they had to find somebody eventually who take the Spurs job, and I still believe they missed a trick, by the way, with not going for Scott Parker. Scott Parker was, of course, announced as the new Birmingham manager. Not Birmingham, Bournemouth. Craig, Bournemouth manager. And I think that he would have been a good fit for Spurs, I really do. But they've gone for Nuno, and there you go. Right, what else have we got? To be fair, if Salah goes, he goes, said Eugene. See, I understand where you're coming from, Eugene, but where are we going to replace his goals from, mate? That's my question. So look, players come and go. I get that. I've seen players come and go before. We've seen Suarez, Torres, we've seen Felipe Coutinho, we've seen other players come and go. But Mohamed Salah, since he's come into our football club, has not just laid down a marker, but the dude is just smashing goal scoring records left, right and centre. And I just don't feel he's been treated respectfully. And I don't know, and again, I'm very cynical around this, so maybe I've got this completely wrong. But we now know that the Olympic stuff is coming up and that he wants to go and play for his country in the Olympics. We know Liverpool don't want their players going. And I hope that we don't see this used as a tool to maybe try and turn Mo into a scapegoat, because none of us want to see that. The man deserves his respect. What do I think about Rafa to Everton? Funny you say, I just recorded with Mike from the Blue Boys Network. He was looking for my opinion on it as well, and to me, Rafael Benitez is a god. And Rafael Benitez is somebody that loves the city of Liverpool, loves Scousers as people, done lots of great charity work there. And look, he's Everton manager. He left Liverpool 11 years ago. And, you know, I don't think he'll win at with them. I hope he doesn't win at with them, but nothing will ever taint my view of the man. I love him. We need more players. Yes, we do. And I won't disagree with you good folks on that. So look, let's kick off with Otavio, because that is the name that's the latest one, the newest one. So how Otavio works is this. Until midnight tonight, his buyout clause is €40 million. After midnight tonight, i.e. the 1st of July, that increases to 53 or 54 million pound. Now, there's two ways of looking at this. Either Liverpool are interested and we trigger that clause before midnight tonight, or Liverpool are interested and we know that we have Marco Grujic as a kind of bargaining chip here and think that we can, in the long term, get them to give him to us for that price anyway. So I don't know if we are really interested. This stems from Ebola and a couple of other networks, I believe, in Portugal. And look, he's 26 years of age. He's an attacking midfielder. He's got 5 goals and I think 10 or 12 assists in the last season. He's a Brazilian national. That's all I really know about him. Now, if he is the man that Jurgen Klopp wants, I fully believe that Michael Edwards will get the deal done. We know that they want Marco Grujic. Liverpool want, I think, around 12 to 15 million quid for Grujic. And I'm sure that, you know, you don't often see player exchanges as part of deals, but with the post-COVID world that we're all living in right now, I think that maybe we could see a deal take place. So I'm very confident if he's the man the Klopp wants, a deal will be done, because they want Grujic, and if we want Otavio, I don't see it as being that difficult of a deal to make. I really don't. So I can't say if it's true or not, because you know, hand on heart, I don't know. All I know is the same as you guys. I read articles, follow the journalists, and try and find out the little snippets of info that we can. Do I think Otavio is good? Again, I'm somebody here that's working off very little knowledge of the guy, but all it boils down to for me is simply, does Jurgen Klopp want him? If Jurgen Klopp wants him, I'm not going to second guess the manager, because he's generally got these things right. So if he's somebody Kloppo wants, great, go get him. Simple as that for me. And I know that makes it sound very simplistic, but I feel that way. If Klopp wants him, it's good enough for me. Teo Awioni has obtained a work permit, said Tom. Well, I mean, it's taken a while, so good news for Teo that he's got that work permit. Sancho to United, Mbappe to Real Madrid. See, I don't know. Look, Sancho to United, yes, of course, that's happening. Good signing for United and all that jazz. But the Mbappe to Madrid stuff, I don't know if they can afford him. Like, usually you would say, yeah, that makes sense. Mbappe to Madrid. But there's a couple of things about that scenario that don't add up for me. And here's what I think they are. One of the major attractions for him to go into Real Madrid was Zinedine Zidane. He's wanted to work with Zizou his entire life. You know, Zinedine Zidane, a fellow World Cup winner, a legend in France, but he's not there anymore. And add to that the fact that Real Madrid don't have a lot of money right now. They have the whole Super League potential punishment. I say potential because UEFA have postponed the investigation at this moment in time. So they don't even know if they'll be in the Champions League in a couple of seasons. And will Mbappe want to go there with that hanging over his head? I don't know. Look, I haven't got a clue what will happen with Kylian Mbappe. I did, however, read a very interesting story, and I'm sure you guys might have seen this as well. I think it was on Get French Football News, where it's not unusual for the French camp to have a little bit of needle inside of it, but apparently Paul Pogba's parents, Kylian Mbappe's parents, and Rabiot's parents had a bit of a row after the game last night. I think one of them said something about Pogba giving the ball away for Switzerland's 3rd goal, and somebody else said Mbappe needs to be less arrogant. The story's up there if you want to go and read of it yourself, but it's it's a weird one. I mean, it's not weird that French people are falling out, because there's always a bit of a needle in the French camp. You think back to previous tournaments and it seems to happen a lot, but yeah, I mean, weird that the parents are arguing over it though. I mean, I don't get it, but there you go. Zidane will manage the French national team, reckons Gareth. I don't think you're alone in that, mate. There's a few people who've been mentioning that one. Don't worry, guys, we've got Harvey Elliott. I know. Look, Harvey Elliott's great. We're all excited about Harvey Elliott, but what all of us fear and don't want to hear as Liverpool fans right now is that Takumi Minamino will be like a new signing, Gomez will be like a new signing, Van Dijk will be like a new signing. Do you know what will be like a new signing, John? A new signing, mate. That's what will be like a new signing. So go get a new signing, and then we'll all be happier. Same with Germany, said Fernando. Pogba goal was class. It was unbelievably good. Let's be honest, it was sensational. But then he was caught in possession for the third as well. As a United fan, I want Pogba gone. He's overhyped, said Caleb. Yeah, I mean, I get that, Caleb, I do. I look at Pogba with France and I looked at Pogba at Juventus and I can see the hype. I can see it. But at United, I have never understood it. I've never understood why United fans held him up so highly. Yeah, he just hasn't done it at United. For me, my opinion. But look, doesn't matter. Where's the money, John? Said Mick Wall. Where's the money? Good question. You know, we'll be told the same things, Mick, that we're always told. Oh, pandemic here. But hang on, John. Weren't we told that when you sold 10% of FSG's holdings, that some of that money would be used to patch up the money that we lost during the pandemic? So, let's go back to square one, John. Where's the money? Oh, it's a post-COVID world. We've got the second highest wage bill in the Premier League. But hang on, John. Our highest player earns 200 grand a week. You let Gini Wijnaldum go. What is going on? And Mohamed Salah is not even on the list that we've heard of players who want to be given it or who will be entered into negotiations over a new contract. So we don't want to hear that the reason that we can't sign anybody is because Van Dijk, Fabinho, Alisson are all getting new deals. We want them to get new deals. They absolutely deserve those new deals. But stop fucking pissing in the tent and telling me it's raining. Do you know what I mean? It's time to pony up, John. We're sick of being told that we can match Manchester United, we can match Manchester City, we can match all these clubs. Well then act on it, mate. Do it or shut up. We've had success, that's been great, but we don't want one Premier League, mate. We don't want one European Cup under Klopp. We want to be winning trophies year in and year out. And we have the manager to do it. We have a fantastic set of fans. We have a very good squad, but a couple more additions and we are right there every single year. It's getting frustrating because, look, I don't want to sound like an ungrateful person because I'm extremely grateful for the success we've had. And I'm extremely happy about how knowledgeable we've been in the way we've gone about our business. So the signings we've made like Salah and Mane, Diogo Jota, brilliant, master strokes, genius. But there comes a time where you've got to start acting like a big club as well. And we heard that you flew Kylian Mbappe and his family around on your private jet before he signed for Paris Saint-Germain. Well, guess what, motherfucker? Mbappe's available this summer. So either go get him or admit that you're a fucking spoofer, John. It's one or the other. Because you can't keep pulling the wool over our eyes, mate. You tried to pull a fast one on us and join the Super League without letting any of us know. And we will never forget that, mate. But you have a chance at redemption. And there's two names that'll do it. Jude Bellingham or Kylian Mbappe. Anything else, John, and you're a fucking spoofer, mate. It's as simple as that. Look, we do have Harvey Elliott, and I love Harvey Elliott, and I love the fact that we've got some good talented young players, and I love the fact that we've got Big Verge and Alisson and Hendo, Van Dijk, I said Big Verge already actually, Salah, Mane. I love all of that. But when's the last time we actually went out and dropped some serious wage on a player? We got Thiago because he was a bargain, and I'm all for it. Sometimes these things are right time, right place. Thiago came in, 25 million, nothing wrong with it. But to let Gini Wijnaldum go because you wouldn't give him another poxy year on his contract, and then we have this whole search for a midfielder which will end up costing us a lot more than Gini, and Gini can play 5 or 6 more years, no doubt about that. So there's a lot going on right now that is frustrating a lot of us, and on a day where a lot of our rivals, United, Everton, who look, they aren't really our rivals, but they are the neighbours. They've got a new manager, a good new manager of course, in Rafael Benitez. United have announced Sancho today, or are just about to announce Sancho. I mean, there's only so much of this nonsense spoofery we can take. They over rely on Jurgen Klopp's brilliance, and there will come a time in a couple of years when Jurgen Klopp won't be here. And then what you gonna do, John? What you gonna do then, mate? Because as good as Stevie G might be, or Pep Linders, or whoever the next manager is, he ain't Jurgen Norbert Klopp. He can't pull rabbits out of hats. And we need to start setting up. We need to start bringing in Klopp's second team. Jude Bellingham will be a great start. Mbappe, as much as it's unlikely, will be absolutely fantastic. But we can't keep looking for diamonds in the rough. Yes, we can get a few and it's great, but we need to act like a big club. We don't give a fuck about record shirt sales. We could care less about commercial partnerships. I couldn't give a hoot what the TV money is if it means that we still have nothing to sign anybody. I don't care. Just give us some money, John. Give the gaffer a few quid to go and spend, mate. because you're over-relying on his brilliance. Do I think Canade will be better than Gomez at centre-back? I honestly don't know, Tiny Hunter. But what I will say is, it's a very good piece of business. At 36 million quid, very, very clever piece of business. Thoughts on Berardi? I won't lie to you, Shane. I don't know too much about Berardi. I hadn't really heard of the guy before the Euros. He's been linked with Leicester and a few other clubs. Oh, and by the way, Patson Daka is now officially a Leicester player. Another absolute diamond in the rough that we could have had fairly cheap, but again, nothing. I'm baffled. Daniel Malin, would I take him? Absolutely. I'd have no problem with that signing, but we do need a little bit of glitz and glamour. We can't have Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota and Bobby Firmino, and then the drop off to be Origi and Shaqiri or Wilson. It's just not good enough. That's not going to keep us up with the likes of Manchester City. With all due respect to those players who, you know, are professional footballers, the drop off is too big. And it's why when we had injuries last year that we fell away for a while. And it's only because of the brilliance of our manager and the sheer heart and determination of those players that we were able to somehow miraculously get a Champions League place. And John W. Henry is not responsible for that. It's those boys and that manager that got us out of that sticky situation. Thoughts on Isaac, Craig? I think he'd be good. I know it's very difficult to judge a player on international duty because it's not his club competition. And I know that he's got a decent record with Sociedad, but what I've seen of him in the Euros, to me, from what I've seen, he's not a 70 million euro player. Not to me, from what I've seen. Sell Minamino, Origi, Shaqiri and Keita. So Minamino could move on. I don't know what the story is there. He could go to Southampton, he could go to Spain. Shaqiri looks like he could be Lazio bound. Origi, well, a lot of us believe that when Origi set up that scholarship that he did, it was his way of almost saying goodbye to the city, which is a classy touch from Big Divock. Fair play. Who else have we got? Keita. I don't think we'll sell Keita because we'd have to take a tremendous loss. What else have we got? Coleman, said Mark Wright. Sorry, mate. Martin Wright, excuse me. I just got a cough. Let me mute my mic for a second. Excuse me. So, Kingsley Coleman. I mean, we're all a little bit excited when we seen the links, weren't we? I think it's fair to say we were a bit excited. But then we hear it's gone from all of a sudden being 50 million to now Bayern Munich saying, well, if anybody wants Kingsley Coman, it's 90 million euro, which immediately is where you know that that's our interest gone. So if we did have an interest in him, and I don't know if we did, the report that was put out there suggested that Bayern wanted to keep him and it was his father that was looking to push through a move to England. So would I have Kingsley Coman? Yes, you'd be weary about his injury record, but as a footballer, top notch. But we're not going to pay 90 million for him. So if that really is the price Bayern want, bye bye, because we won't be signing him for 90 million. We all know that. So yeah, as good as Kingsley Coman is, and I'd have him in a heartbeat, it comes back to the L pound notes, doesn't it? And we won't be paying 90 million for him. Would I take Ismail Assar? I think we can do better. I really do think we could do better than Sarr. We were in for him before we signed Jota, but I actually think we ended up at the right player there. I really do. Doku's a great shout. Jamie, Doku is a really good shout. And Jeremy Doku is somebody who has a history with Liverpool, looking and monitoring, showing him around Anfield and Melwood previously, away with Belgium at the Euros. And yes, that's a player that even though his price tag may be fairly low, undoubted star, undoubted talent, and I would be more than happy to sign Jeremy Doku. If you said to me, Craig, we're going to go and sign Jeremy Doku, a midfielder, and that's going to be it, we'll renew contracts and next summer we're going in for Jude Bellingham, do you know what? I take it. I take that. You know, I think we do need an attacker, but all in all, I take that. Jeremy Doku, pacey wide player, yes, sound. A good midfielder to come in, and then Jude Bellingham next summer. I'd be all over it as long as you gave Salah a new deal, gave Alisson a new deal, gave Van Dijk a new deal, gave Sadio a new deal. I'd have no issues with any of that. Damsgaard, I know a lot of people think very highly of, but you know, again, I would put him, for me, as somebody I have only seen during the Euros. Renato Sanchez, Jake, is another good shout, and somebody who you could see why Klopp will be interested in him. Right age bracket, a lot of experience, albeit he's had a bit of an up and down career, but that's not unusual for young players. You started to see his quality really shine through there with Portugal, although they were knocked out in the Euros. Led Lille, or was part of the Lille team that went and won the French First Division. So yeah, Renato Sanchez, I'd have no issues with Renato Sanchez if we bought him. The Saul Niguez links from Atleti, I just don't believe them, to be honest with you. It's more for me a case of them wanting Saul to move on than Liverpool realistically going out there and getting the lad. So Saul seems to have been available for a while. He was linked with Manchester United at one point, I think, as well, or maybe that was Koke. I often get them mixed up. But I don't see Liverpool going and signing him. I just don't. I think, Bissouma, Neuhaus, Renato Sanchez, Ryan Gravenberch, anybody like that, I could kind of see being more sensible than or more likely than going and signing Saul from Atleti. But there is one way of looking at this, and it's not the way I want to look at it, but apparently Atleti have an interest in Bobby Firmino. So I don't know if there's that in there, or if again this is just lazy linking up. Probably the latter. Saka, Lennon, mate, I said this before he signed the thing at Arsenal. I would have taken Bukayo Saka in a heartbeat at Liverpool. He is an exceptional young footballer, but unfortunately he signed on at Arsenal, and at Arsenal he shall stay for the time being. What are your thoughts on playing Curtis Jones more this season instead of rushing to buy a new central midfielder? Well, what I'm talking about, Aaron, is on top of Curtis Jones, mate, because in my head that was a gimme. Curtis Jones playing more this season is an absolute certainty in my head. Let's look at it. We've got Curtis Jones, we've got Henderson, we've got Thiago, we've got Fabinho, we've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and we've got James Milner. Now, I probably forgot somebody there. I usually do when I'm listing off players. But a few of them have some injury records, and not many of them. Naby Keita, there, I knew I did. Not many of them are good on the front foot. Jones is, particularly coming in off that left-hand side, and Naby Keita can be very good on the front foot. But I'd like a 10. I'd like somebody to play the whole. Now, Firmino can do it. Bobby can absolutely link up the attack. But that's why when I seen the links to this guy Otavio, I thought, oh, well, maybe Klopp's having a slight change of direction here. Because since Felipe Coutinho left, who was there when Klopp arrived, by the way, a 10 hasn't really been a position that we've utilised too much. We tend to use either the full-backs or the centre-backs for the either long balls or the crosses whipped in from wide. So unless we see a little change of the way we go about it, which Klopp has evolved his system since he's been at Liverpool, a 10 would be a surprise. A pleasant one, but a surprise nonetheless. Jones or Bellingham? Both. And here's why I'd say both, mate. Because Hendo getting on a bit, Milner's getting on a bit, Thiago is getting on a little bit. So you do need to look at that next generation. So I would answer your question with both. Because, we need to be setting us up for the next 4, 5, 6 years. What about Adama Traore? For me, that would be a no, Darren, because of the shoulder injury. I think I've said it to you guys before. You often see Adama putting the baby oil and stuff on before he comes on. He's had 6 dislocations, I believe, of his shoulder over the past 2 seasons. So, as good as he is in full flow, I'd rather Saint-Maximin personally than Adama Traore. Anything on Sander Berg? The only thing I've seen, Jamie, in any way of an update, buddy, is that apparently there is no relegation clause. So we were all led to believe by some people in the media that he has a 10 or 12 million quid relegation clause. We've seen similar with Shaqiri when we signed him. But from what I've read coming from the Sheffield United end, they're adamant that there is no such clause and that the valuation of Sander Berg would be about 30 to 35 million quid. So would I have taken him if he had the relegation clause? In a heartbeat. Because, we give a chance to rest Fabinho at times. And he's a decent player, but I don't think we dropped that much money on him. Yashir said, would you rather have Liverpool Bellingham or Saka? Bellingham. Bellingham. Choo choo! Jude Bellingham to me, I don't want to say would be like the reincarnation of Steven Gerrard, but Kevin De Bruyne is the only other player I've seen in the Premier League. Well, of course, Bellingham hasn't been in the Premier League yet, but the only other player I've seen that I thought, well, that's like watching Stevie G at times. And Jude Bellingham has that about him. So Bellingham, 100%. Who do you think is next in the door for Liverpool? I can only give you an honest answer, mate, and that's that I don't know. I'm as nervous and excited about it as everybody else. I'm just a fan that's sitting at home trying to figure out what's going on as well. I kind of want Otavio, said Apex Gamer. If Klopp wants him, I feel we'll get him. That's one thing I will say. He's very reasonably priced, and if Klopp wants him, particularly with us having Grujic and Porto wanting Grujic, then I think that's a deal that can easily be done. Camavinga, not a name I've ever seen linked to Liverpool. I've seen him linked to United, I've seen him linked to Arsenal, I've seen him linked to Leicester, I've seen him linked to PSG, which by the way is where I think he'll end up. But I've not seen him linked to Liverpool. So, very good player, of course, and probably will move this summer, but I don't think it'll be to Liverpool. In that age bracket, we seem to be looking more at Ryan Gravenberch of Ajax than Eduardo Camavinga, who doesn't he play for Ron, if my memory's right? Leicester always kill it with transfers. The recruitment has been top notch, Jared, without a shadow of a doubt. Bringing in Soyuncu, bringing in Tielemans, bringing in Ndidi, bringing in Patson Daka now as well. They've been very, very, very good in the recruitment, no doubt about it. Nuno is the new Spurs boss. He is indeed, Aaron, and doesn't really worry me. I don't think. It doesn't worry me, to be honest. I mean, he's a good coach, Nuno, but I think, I can't see him changing too much at Spurs, to be honest. Just my opinion. Where do I see the links on Bellingham? I don't see any links, mate. I'm just putting two and two together. We've seen Agent Henderson away with England Judy, getting very pally with Jude. We've seen Jude Bellingham say that the only player he would have ever changed the shirt or swapped the shirt with was Steven Gerrard. And somebody told me, and I don't know for the life of me if this is true or not, that a lot of his family, himself included, are Liverpool fans. I don't know how true that is or not. I really don't. Did I see Kabak said goodbye on social media? Yes, and I still think that was a signing we should have made. Even with signing Ibrahima Konate, I think that, look, if we're going to move on Nat Phillips, which it looks like we are, we probably could have gotten. Sorry, I'm reading comments here and going all over the place. We probably could have gotten Kabak for about 10 million, because Schalke are up shit creek financially. I know that we had an option for 18 million, but I think a deal could have been done at even less. Would I take Harvey Barnes? Yes, 100% yes. He'd be probably my first choice from Leicester. I know that he's had an injury and stuff, but he's one of those players, you look at Harvey Barnes and you could absolutely see him in the Liverpool squad. You could absolutely see him developing and doing well under Jurgen Klopp. He wanted to play alongside VVD. I know, and he never got the chance, unfortunately. And again, you could see how much he wanted to be here. He would have done everything he could to try and succeed. I prefer Nat Phillips over Kabak. Now, personally, Barry, I wouldn't. I think Nat Phillips is a limited defender, albeit somebody who's it's majorly because of him that we're in this Champions League next season. He played a huge part in it. But with the way that we play, as much as he's improved, I just don't think he'd really suit our high line system, playing alongside Van Dijk and that. So, I'm happy that Nat Phillips is going to get himself a good move and that he'll be playing at a high level. Liz said Jordan Henderson is an excellent captain and an even better human being. I love Hendo. I love him for so many reasons. He is exactly everything I'd want in a captain. I love the man. Love him. Craig, will we be priced out for Bellingham next season? Probably is the scary answer, mate. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I know he signed a new deal with Borussia Dortmund till 2025. He turned 18 yesterday. Obviously get a wage increase, and I'm guessing at this, but I'm sure that the buyout clause, if there is one in his contract, has probably been increased. So yeah, I know that's the worry, isn't it? We're all sitting here saying how great it would be next summer, but I'm sick of hearing the phrase next summer. I'm sick of hearing the future. I'm sick of hearing that if a world-class talent becomes available, that FSG have been managing their money in case. This summer there's loads of them available. Loads of them. And we're not being linked to any of them. Am I FSG in or FSG out? I don't think it's a simple question that has a simple answer. So, in an ideal world, with a good owner lined up, absolutely fuck off John W. Henry and FSG in a heartbeat after the Super League fiasco. But Would I be worried if they sold up and we got in a Glazer or a Kroenke type owner? That would worry me very much, because whatever we think of FSG, however much we think they're tight, they haven't taken a penny out of the club. They aren't milking profits out of the club. That's one thing they have going for them. But yeah, right time, right place, I'd say bye-bye. But, you know, Ian Ayre's phrase of be careful what you wish for kind of always rings in my head when I talk about new owners. So sometimes it's better the devil you know, but if decent owners were there, like let's say Daniel Ek, the guy who wants to buy Arsenal, if somebody of that kind of ilk who, you know, has some type of passion for the club, then yeah, I probably would like them to sell up, because the Super League was the last straw for me. I mean, to not even consult any of the fans, to not talk to the Spirit of Shankly, to not talk to Spy on Cop, to not talk to the supporters, anybody, to just go and do that the snidey, sly way that they did it. Nah, it never sits right. Would I loan Tsimikas? I wouldn't loan him. I'd sell him if they wanted to get rid of him. No point in loaning a player. You know, again, from what I read originally, Tsimikas was going to be here. So are we going to be going into a situation now where Costa Tsimikas could go, Nico Williams could go, and yes, we've got Connor Bradley coming through, and yeah, Joe Gomez can play right back, but then we're straight back to square one for a backup left back. So I would just say give Costa Tsimikas an opportunity, because we haven't seen much game time, have we, from Costa Tsimikas? Kingsley Coman to Liverpool, any update? Just that Bayern Munich apparently want €90 million from James, and you know, if that's the case, bye bye to that link, because we're not going to pony up that much money. They thought they weren't going to get Champions League football, yeah, and we did, and they should be thanking their lucky stars that we did, and they should be going around hugging Jurgen Klopp, Alisson Becker and those boys that got us that position, because it saved the club a lot of money. Who do I think will sign at Liverpool? Khaled, I don't know. I'm like you guys. My biggest concern right now is the Mohamed Salah situation, because when you're hearing publicly from loads of journos that Fabinho and Alisson and who else is there, Van Dijk, are going to be getting new deals that none of us have any problems with, of course give them new deals, no problem there. But one name that hasn't been mentioned is Mohamed Salah, and with the Olympics thing, I'm starting to wonder, are we going to see the knife twisted a little bit here? Are we going to see Mo maybe used as a scapegoat to try and justify selling him? I hope not, because one thing I can promise you is if Paris Saint-Germain lose Kylian Mbappe, wherever he might go, I can guarantee you Mohamed Salah is going to be the first port to call. So what we're doing right now is a very, very dangerous game, unless there's something that we don't know about. And of all the things that I have labelled at FSG and all the things that you guys probably say about them, when it comes to business, they aren't idiots. That's the only thing that makes me think surely even they can't be that naive. What about Salah and Mane? Again, yes, both need new deals. I've no arguments. They both have 2 years left on the contract, and you don't want a player like Mohamed Salah going in to 18 months to go, say, on his contract, because then you're staring down the barrel of knowing, Jesus, if he goes to 1 year left on his deal, he could sign for another club then the following January on a pre-contract, and he won't be short of offers. Rafinha is better than Coman, said MSR. Look, I don't think Leeds are going to sell Rafinha this summer, from everything I've read and anything I've seen written, which kind of goes into everything I've read. I mean, I don't know why I went back over that one, but yeah, he seems quite happy to be there for another season. Should Bobby leave? Not yet. I think he's got another year in him personally. So let's say the Daniel Malen links were correct, and that what was put out there, that he's been seen as a long-term replacement for Bobby Firmino. Well, then you'd want to give him a year working with Bobby, in my opinion, and then, you know, maybe move Bobby on a year down the line. There is no Berardi news. I don't think Liverpool genuinely have any interest in him from what I've read. So that's all I can really say on that one. We need Renato Sanchez, again, would be a good signing, and I think would excel under Jurgen Klopp. Would you sell Mane and take Zaha? No, I'd rather have Sadio Mane every day of the week over Wilfried Zaha, mate. Give me Sadio every day of the week over Zaha. Craig, do you think our owners are unserious? Well, I don't really know how to answer that, because they're going to make a serious amount of cash when they sell up, and the work has already started on the Annie Road end improvements, and they've done the training ground, they've done the main stand, they've brought us Klopp, they've won us a Premier League title, they've won us a Champions League, World Club Cup. So, you know, they have achieved success, and they've done it in a clever way, but at the same time they have increased revenues dramatically, and yet I don't really feel that we as a club have spent much net spend wise compared to others around us. Yasir, thank you for the super chat. My man said, next season if Liverpool win the Champions League and the Premier League and this COVID thing is slowly starting to get away, which is very good, then do you think maybe Liverpool may try and get Mbappe? No, if it goes to next year, I don't think we've got a hope to sign Kylian Mbappe. If we're going to get Mbappe, this is the summer to do it, because next year Madrid will have had a chance to regroup. They'll know much further along what's going on with regards to their situation in the Super League or the Champions League, and they won't need to pay a transfer fee, so they can give him wages over the next 5 years. And yeah, so no, I think it's this summer or never, and most likely it'll be never, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say it. Akone Vernon, I've not seen much on recently. Obviously another very good Lille player. Somebody said he had crazy wage demands, but I don't know if that's true or not. Is Basuma just finished? He's been linked to a few clubs. I mean, Arsenal have been linked with him. But the thing that gets me, as I said before about Basuma, is that the price point keeps going up and up and up. So started at 35 million, and then 50 million is all of a sudden being mentioned. But again, I would stand over what I said at the start of the summer. Basuma would be a fine replacement for Gini Wijnaldum in my opinion, because he does a lot of Gini type things. Did he really say Zaha for Mane? He must have, but I'm fucking certainly not having him. I mean, I think that's massive disrespect towards Sadio Mane personally, because to me Sadio Mane is much better footballer than Wilfried Zaha on a more consistent basis, even allowing for the fact that Sadio hasn't had his best season. Thoughts on United signing Sancho? It's a very good piece of business. I mean, it's no secret that it was going to happen. And yeah, it's a good piece of business. I mean, to say anything else would just be disingenuous. Martin Odegaard is an interesting one, Brandon. I think, you know, I don't know if Arsenal are still trying to sign Odegaard. I don't know if Real Madrid want him back. But, you know, we tried to sign him when he was 16. He went to Real Madrid, played with their B team for a while, had a couple of loans, was at Real Sociedad, then has been at Arsenal. And I don't know what the situation is, but I would say it's fairly obvious to say that the relationship between Liverpool and Real Madrid right now probably isn't at its best because of the whole Super League thing. What do I think of Nuno to Spurs? It wouldn't excite me if I was a Spurs fan, but I wouldn't be fuming over it either. It would be, you know, a decent appointment. I think they should have rolled the dice and gone after Scott Parker, but you know, Nuno's a decent coach. He knows what he's at. I just don't think Nuno will play the type of football that Spurs fans want Spurs to play, if you get where I'm coming from. Would I take Pedro Neto? Yes, I would. Pedro Neto, no problem. Rafinha, no problem. The guy we were talking about earlier on, who of course names escaped me now, the guy from Belgium, I would keep going to say that, Patson Daka, but that's of course not the right lad. He's gone to Leicester and he's a forward. Jeremy Doku, have him, no problem as well. Do you think Salah will leave? In my head, it's 50-50, and that scares the shit out of me right now. In my head, I would say the Salah thing is a 50-50 right now. Now, that's just my opinion. Don't take that as gospel. Where do you think Kanate is heading to since he's travelled to England today? I don't know, maybe he's finding a home, maybe he's settling in, maybe he's getting used to the area. I have no idea. I mean, we are starting back pre-season in 10 days or so yeah, I don't know, maybe he's just coming to settle in. Would I take Ruben Neves? I don't know if we need Ruben Neves. I mean, we have Fabinho, and we have a couple of other players like Hendo who can play in that deeper role if necessary. And I think what I will say is the same thing. If we wanted Ruben Neves, then no better boy to ask than Pep Linders, who was his coach for 6 or 7 years when he was coming through a Porto at underage level. So he'd certainly know everything there is to know about Ruben Neves. But, you know, good footballer and all, but I just don't see it being something we'll do this summer. Although I have seen it on a list of names that apparently Wolves are willing to sell to free up money for new signings. Where do you think Liverpool will place next season in the Premier League? Somewhere in the top 3. I'm afraid to place orders, 1, 2 or 3, because if City go out and sign Kane and Grealish, and United have got Sancho, and let's say they got Varane, and let's say that Chelsea go out there and sign Erling Haaland, then all of a sudden this becomes a completely different picture, doesn't it? And we're sitting here looking, going, okay, this got a bit harder. Would I take Ceballos for 15 million? No, I don't think he's good enough to play for Liverpool. Leeds are dark horses under Bielsa. Actually, they're dark horses, but Bielsa's a top tier coach. I've already done the Rafa to Everton thing 500 times. Look, for me, Rafa's a god. Nothing will ever change that. Love the man, always will. Why Ben Davies not start? Because he's been injured and he hasn't been fit to be able to start yet, mate. So, you know, whether Ben Davies stays, which it looks like he may do, then we'll see him in pre-season. But he hasn't been fit enough to get minutes yet. So, unfortunately, it was just a couple of injuries that stopped them. Who would be your dream signings this summer? Mbappe, obviously. The answer has to be Mbappe. But if we keep Salah and we keep the forwards, I'm absolutely sound about going out and getting someone like a Rafinha or a Jeremy Doku or, you know, a decent midfielder, and then next summer go for Bellingham. But I don't want to hear that we're going to go for Bellingham and then next summer, you know, something else happens and we're told, we were going to do it, but, which is always the way, isn't it? I'd love Pulisic, Liz. Liz said she still wants Pulisic. I mean, I said it at the time and people laughed at me. Christian Pulisic was a perfect fit. Christian Pulisic, we should have bent over backwards to go and sign that dude. Klopp obviously had the in with Dortmund. Pulisic obviously a star of the US men's national team. You can see the branding opportunities there. FSG being American owners. I mean, so many things around that on top of his football ability. But yeah, he went to Chelsea. What MLS top have I got on? This one is Kansas City. I've got a few of them. This one's Kansas City, I should say. Is it City? It is Kansas City, isn't it? Yeah, Kansas City. I'm late. What's the Mbappe news? There isn't really any. The news is that there was a fight between Pogba's parents, Rabiot's parents, and Mbappe's parents after the France game, or during the France game. Somebody accused Pogba of being slack in possession. Somebody else said that Mbappe was arrogant and that his father needed to have a word with him. And somewhere in all of this, Rabiot's mother was involved as well. But that is the Mbappe stuff, really. Yeah, so the Mbappe thing is so interesting because I've not really seen the links to him going anywhere yet. Like, Madrid has been quiet around him apart from the fans. Liverpool's been quiet around him apart from some of our fans. And PSG are adamant that he's not leaving on a free and that they're not selling him, which they kind of have to do one of them if he's not signing a new deal. Coman value, I've spoke about Oscar. It was first of all put out there at 50 million, but Bayern Munich have let it be known, and I think Christian Falk maybe put this out as well. And if it wasn't Christian Falk, I do apologise, but 90 million euro is apparently the price if anybody wants Kingsley Coman, and we all know we ain't paying that. Who do I think could be Liverpool's next manager? Don't know, Robert. Don't know. Could be Pep Linders, could be Stevie G, could be somebody we haven't thought of yet. I genuinely don't know, and I don't want to even think about it because we've still got Klopp till 2024. What do I think will happen to Mbappe? I think he moves this summer. I don't know where. I honestly don't. But as I said to you before, if he does move this summer, then their first port of call to replace him is going to be Mohamed Salah. Do you think FSC are saving money for the Klopp era, for the post-Klopp era? No, I think they should be spending it now to get ready for Klopp's second team. So some of the players we have now are getting to 29 and 30, and we've got some good young players coming through, of course. We've got Harvey Elliott, we've got Queven Kelleher, we've got Curtis Jones, we've got Conor Bradley, and a couple of other Billy Comedio, and some other good young talent. But you need to sprinkle that with some young talent who's getting regular football as well. Saul from Atletico, I don't see that being real. I mean, they just want rid of Saul by the looks of it, or he wants to move or something, and I've seen him linked with a load of clubs, but it just doesn't make sense to me that Liverpool will go and sign him. What else is there? Did you see the fake Klopp celebrating with the England game? I did, yeah. It was funny. Should Shaqiri stay? No. No. Because he's always picking up knocks. And for whatever reason, Kloppo doesn't seem to really rate him that much, if we're being honest. He says one thing in the media, but then never really chooses him or picks him. And it looks like Lazio are interested in Shaqiri, and I think Shaqiri wants to move. He was linked with a couple of clubs in Turkey previously, and if the Lazio interest is legit, it seems like a good move to me for Shaqiri. Would I swap Salah for Mbappe? Yes, I would. Partly because of the age thing, and partly because he's a wonderful footballer, and partly because I think he'd excel under Jurgen Klopp, and I think we get about 20 more penalties a season as well. But I don't want to lose Salah. I want to be very clear about that, but he's probably the only player that I would take that yes for. Florian Neuhaus said, Jeremy, two trains of thought on Florian Neuhaus, mate. Either we are interested in him, which some people have been reporting, or he'll stay at Borussia Mönchengladbach for another year and then go and sign for Bayern Munich. I think one of those two things are real. I just don't know which one. Would I take Suarez back? It doesn't really matter what I say to that, mate, because Suarez is going to stay at Atletico for the year he has left on his contract. We don't pay the huge wages, which is mad when you think about it, mate, because we have the second highest wage bill in the Premier League. But I get what you're saying. Our highest paid player is on about 200 grand a week. Now you see Jadon Sancho coming into United, and depending on what you read or who you believe, it's somewhere between 250 and 350 grand a week. I think Mark thinks it's the lower end of that, but even at that, even if it is 250 grand a week, that's already about 50 grand base salary more than we pay our highest paid player. So yeah, you're right, we don't pay the big wages, but yet we still have the second highest wage bill. There is no news on Berardi. The news on Berardi is that I think it's absolute poo-poo of the highest order, and I think it's match of the day fever that he's been linked with here, there and everywhere. Leicester have been linked with him as well. I don't, there have been some links, but again, they've been more from the Italian side, but nobody's told me that the Berardi stuff is legit. What about Mbappe's wages? I know that's the only reason I don't think it's possible, because I think we could afford a transfer fee, because you're probably talking about 120 million euro for Mbappe because he's down to his last year. So it is the wages that's the problem, because he's probably gonna want 400-500 grand a week minimum. Now, could Nike do something there? I don't know. You'd hope so, but yeah, that's the big reason why I've never really bought into the whole Mbappe to Liverpool thing, because the numbers from that side just simply don't add up, do they? Any news on Renato Sanchez? Nope, not yet. Could be, a very interesting link, and one that I'm intrigued by, certainly. And look, if Liverpool signed Renato Sanchez, I would be alright with that as well. Does Mbappe want to play for Liverpool, or does he think he's too big for us? Well, how could he think he's too big for us? He's at fucking Paris Saint-Germain. Do you know what I mean? Never won a European Cup. So how could a club with 6 European Cups, how would he think he's too big for us? Doesn't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? Anything on Daniel Malin? Nothing new. Look, there is nothing new on anything. Anyone that tells you otherwise is blowing smoke up your arse and just trying to get you to watch or click or read something. There's no news on anybody. Now, if that's a good thing or a bad thing, sometimes it can be a bit of both. Would I bring Mbappe for 30 million? No. No, 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 no. Are Liverpool going to sign anyone this summer? Yes, I am very, 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 very confident we will sign at least 2 more players. Do I think Jones could start next season? He'll certainly be in and around the first team, Jake, and he'll play games. How many games, I suppose, that will depend on a couple of things. It will depend on how much he continues to impress Klopp, if we have any more injuries in midfield, yeah, and a few other factors as well. Are the Coleman links actually through? I thought they may have been until I seen the Bayern Munich price, because we know we ain't paying €90 million for him. Why did Klopp loan Harry Wilson? Because you're not good enough. It's as simple as that. And anybody who does believe Harry Wilson's good enough for Liverpool, I think, is lying to themselves. He's not. He just simply isn't. Lower Norwich, to me, is a club that Harry Wilson would fit in good at. Leeds even looked at him and then pulled away from it because they thought they could get better value. So one thing I will say about Harry Wilson is, look, my opinion is my opinion and it's pretty irrelevant, but from his perspective, much like Ryan Kent, he deserves a chance to go and put down roots, sign a contract at a club and play week in and week out. So whatever happens with Harry Wilson, just like when Ryan Kent moved up to Rangers, I hope he gets a move that makes him happy, and I hope that he, you know, gets to play regular football, because that's all anybody wants to do when they're a footballer. What have we got? Craig, are you doing Italy versus Belgium with Mark? I don't know. I haven't heard yet. I've no idea what games I'm doing. All I can say for certain is that I will of course be doing the England-Ukraine game here on Anfield agenda. After that, I've no idea what games I'm doing yet, mate. He hasn't sent me a message to let me know. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this was supposed to be my day off, but I said I'll have tomorrow off instead because I had a few little bits and pieces to do today. So look, firstly, please hit the subscribe button. We're really, really close to 111k. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take a second to do so. It really helps us out. I will be back on Friday. Yes, Friday, because I'm not going to be doing tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow off because I need it. I'm knackered. Have yourselves a wonderful Thursday. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know I love you. You know we wouldn't be here without you, and we appreciate everything you've done for us. And I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to sign the thing or not. But what I will say is, if I do end up signing on with That's Football and working there next season as well, Anfield agenda will remain the same, and I will redo Mundo Sporto so it becomes a Craig channel, because I've got a few ideas, a few fun ideas that I think you guys will like, that has nothing to do with sport, but I think we can have a little bit of fun with as well. So look, I love you guys dearly. I wouldn't be jack shit without you, you know that. Lots of love to you all. Talk to you tomorrow. No.